we talked about why should we bother doing a hearing test, because we knew the baby was going to be deaf. And a hearing test, to us, isn't culturally appropriate practice to do on deaf children. That's a whole other story. And so we opted out of doing the hearing test, and many things happened at the birth, and ultimately Elvis thought, let's just go ahead and do it, and that way we have the documentation that they're deaf. And I felt that wasn't the right move, but we did that. And so the person came in, brought in the medical equipment for the hearing test. And I looked at that person. It was a person of color who was doing the testing. And this hospital is highly respectful around deaf people and experience. And so I felt, I made assumptions that, this person would how they would be doing the test. And when the person put on the testing equipment, they said, "Oh, your child will not have a normal life." And we both looked at each other and thought, yeah, that's not, we said that's not really an appropriate things to say. I'm a principal of the school, we're advocates. No, your child will not have a normal life, was the response. And I was complete, our family's arriving to meet our baby for the first time, and here's this hugely negative vibe that's going on in the room. And of course the family was like, yes, your baby's deaf, we all knew it. And it was a moment of celebration. And the person left with the medical equipment. Everybody left. I was in the hospital alone with the baby, and another person, a different person, a person of color, came in with the medical equipment. I said, we don't need that test. And they started arguing with me. I said, no, we don't need a hearing test. Please leave. Literally getting in an argument. And they grabbing my child and, please put your hands on their head and pray for your baby. And I said, no, I don't want this. Tried to take my baby back. And they're writing, we need to decide if they needed hearing aid or surgery to correct, hearing. And I said, what's this they you're talking about? They said, the doctors. I'm like, no, we are the parents. We are going to decide. They wanted me to sign paperwork that I was refusing intervention. It went on. And fortunately, we could kind of ultimately laugh it off because we knew that being deaf is perfectly fine. But just imagining what other hearing parents are going through when they're getting that message that our baby's not normal, and the brochures and resources that were given, not including anything about being deaf or communication, I can throw that away. But the hearing parents who have no idea, and the grief that they're experiencing is incredible.